That being said, Gavin, did you have a short clip from this Anna Kasparian, Megyn Kelly appearance that we could maybe all three react to before Mike skedaddles?
Yeah, let's quickly react to this. We're not going to make you watch much of it, Mike, nor do we want to watch much of it. But I think, this kind of sets the tone for Anna's new role in the media landscape.
Yeah.
So, she pops up here and kind of still under the auspice of like, oh, I'm here to represent the left, right? Sort of like Cenk when he was on the America Fest panel with Charlie Kirk. Right? Oh, I'm here to represent the left. Everyone on the left, consented to me being their representative. So here I am to represent the left. And everyone's like, boo, fuck you. That's actually on the left. In the same way, here's Anna still putting on this charade. It's kind of like when Fox News trots out Tulsi Gabbard as the leftist, and it's like no one on the left claims Tulsi Gabbard. You know what I'm saying? Right. Or RFK. There's so much diversity in Donald Trump's cabinet. He picked Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, and it's like everyone on the left hates those people. They're only beloved by the right wing at this point. And that's quickly, what's happening to Anna Kasparian. But again, let's take a look here and see what kind of pushback or perspective we get from Anna. This is a clip about rude male Democratic senators get destroyed by Pam Bondi.
Oh, using identity politics in the title, I can see. She's gone woke.
Exactly. Let's check it out.
Recently out of Harvard Law and had spent some time at CNN, and she got up there and turned the tables inside that press briefing room where she would attack the press. And Republicans hate the press, so it was absolutely risk-free for her. And it worked. It worked really well. Trump loved it. Republicans enjoyed it. People started watching the briefings again. I'm seeing this pattern now with Bondi, a little bit with Pete. They've been nice to Marco Rubio, but this is an effective tactic that most importantly, I think, the boss enjoys.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm sure if Trump was watching, he absolutely loved the way she handled the confirmation hearing yesterday. But I will say this. Look, I think she did a good job in terms of optics for sure. I wish that the Senate confirmation hearings were less about the optics and politics and more about the records of these individuals. And so I would have preferred that she just said Biden won the 2020 election. That way it would take the one and only question away from the Democrats. Well, she said Biden is the president.
She said he's president.
Exactly. And so that allowed for the Democrats to continue asking the same boring question over and over and over and over again. And I would have loved for them to delve into her record in Florida, right? I want to learn more about her. I'm sure the American people want to learn more about her. But honestly, at this point, the Democratic Party has one speed and one speed only. And I'm sure it was aggravating for her as well to be asked the exact same question over and over again.
Increased tariffs on our trade partners.
What's her record, though, Anna? What's her record? Because on TYT, they actually had a pretty decent segment about Pam Bondi. She is extremely corrupt. And that's kind of saying a politician in America is corrupt is like saying ice cream is delicious. Nobody bats an eye at it. It's obvious. But Pam Bondi is on a different level, and TYT did a segment about that, so I know Anna knows. So this let me just learn a little bit more about her. I'm just curious. No, you did the segment on her. Why didn't you share that with the right-wing audience? Why wouldn't you challenge them when you're in their echo chamber? Puncture that bubble. She's not. She's there to nod along and confirm their biases.
Exactly. And that's why, the only way the strategy from TYT would be at all forgivable, in my opinion, if that was the end result of it, right? Them going on these shows to aggressively push back, to call out not only the bullshit of the host, but to identify people like Pam Bondi as the corrupt monsters they are, in a way that can't even be denied by the right-wing audience of the show they're on. But that's not what happens. It's not what happens in any of these instances, not in any of the appearances that Cenk or Anna have gone on these right-wing shows. Not once have they really showed up with serious teeth and an ability to push back and change minds, which this should be about, right? If you're going to go on the platform of a right-winger, you should at least go in there to change the mind of the audience, if not the hosts themselves. But that doesn't really seem to be the mission. It just kind of seems to be like, oh, I'm part of the panel. I'm part of this ecosystem now. I'm here. I got a seat at the table. Don't expect anything useful out of me. Don't expect any actual contribution to the discourse or to the analysis that will benefit the viewer or the listener. But I'm here. I'm sitting next to Megyn Kelly.
Yeah. And her, go ahead, Mike.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say her extremely tepid criticism of Pam Bondi comes in the form of criticism that Republicans love to see liberals make. It's like, oh, I hate the Democrats. The Democrats are lazy. They get so fixated on one point. It's like, just get that out of the way. And then we can talk about real policy, right? Let's talk about our ideas, man. Let's talk about all these ideas we've got, you know? I'm still eagerly awaiting Dave Rubin's retirement. We'll see if he reneges on that promise. But the reality is that for somebody who is so disdainful, right, of anyone on the left, Anna Kasparian has said time and time again, she doesn't even really like being around people of color because she doesn't want to do anything that offends them, right? Yeah. She just wants to be coddled up with people like, you know, Glenn Beck and Ben Shapiro and the iced coffee hour and whoever the fuck that jackwagon was with Megyn Kelly today. You know, she just wants to be friendly and in those social circles, but she completely rejects the left. I think she will be thrilled if she ever gets the opportunity to be the token, you know, left flank on the conservative panel. But to be honest, I don't think she offers enough exciting personality traits. I mean, she's a pretty woman, but she's blasé, but she's horrible on the microphone. So my big question for you, Mike, is do you think she ever gets her way? I imagine part of what keeps her at TYT is the fact that she owns equity in it and the fact that if she cashed out, it would be worth literal dog shit right now. I don't know that for sure. It's my speculation. I won't include you in that, Mike. But do you think she ever does have an opportunity to leave TYT for a more prestigious, more meaningful network show? Or do you think she's stuck there because she's a talentless hack?
Oh, that's hard to say. So as much as I am petty and I'm bitter that she like took this turn, I actually think that she does have talent. And I say this because like I was a fan of TYT before, like I knew Anna. And I liked her commentary. I think that she does a good job at explaining things. But in terms of like what her future is, I think that, you know, it's really, really hard to say if I'm being honest. Her utility right now, and the reason why her and Cenk are getting so many right-wing appearances is because they serve a very specific and necessary role for the right. And they're the liberals who come on and validate all the right-wing talking points. So they could point to the liberal and say, hey, even this liberal thinks that other liberals are crazy and the left has gone crazy. They're talking about the max left. So if they actually give up that facade and they just go straight into being full-blown conservatives, that's when the well dries up. We saw that with Dave Rubin. We're seeing that with Jimmy Dore.
Yep.
You can never go full mask off conservative. You always have to kind of like play the middle. So if she plays the middle and she does it long enough and continues to like throw red meat to MAGA by shitting on homeless people and whatnot, I think that she can have a career. Because even if you like putting aside whether or not you think she's talented, they don't care about whether or not you're talented. It's just a matter of like what you say, right? So like, I mean, Matt Gaetz has a show on OANN, I believe is the network. Like there's a lot of talentless hacks. Tulsi Gabbard was getting Fox News appearances. Would you consider that to be
more prestigious than TYT though? Because I was more thinking like the big lights, you know, the $500,000 contract, the stuff that she really wants. Because I agree she would take a job at like News Nation or something, but I don't know. And I would be interested in your perspective on this too, Gavin. Like, is that really more prestigious than the Young Turks? Yes. You know what I mean?
Yes.
You think
100%.
so?
At least in its current form. Yeah, TYT is like not getting a lot of viewers. And while I generally agree with you, like in a more just general sense, Mike, about how the value to what these people are doing is the fact that they're keeping one leg in the left-wing camp. I actually do think TYT's at the point now where they've been so thoroughly rejected by almost every serious voice on the left that it actually would be more profitable for them to just straight up go MAGA. I think a big part of the issue they're dealing with right now is that they can't pick a team and that they're like halfway off the cliff and they want to disguise all this bullshit with like, oh, we're just being nuanced. And it's like, dude, no one wants your fucking nuance. You're either with them or against them. And I'm sorry if that's like simplistic or fucking animalistic or tribalistic or whatever, but that's what it is. So get with the fucking
1,000% what it is.
Yeah, 100%. I thank you. And it's like, I'm sick of this tepid, timid garbage where you're like, let's, see the shit on the left constantly and then act like we're still on the left, but give Trump constant credit. It's annoying. People don't really want to deal with it. It's kind of the reason why CNN has been failing so hard. They refuse to
Right.
just pick a fucking team. Fox News,
They want it
it's like,
both
we're Team
ways.
Republican. MSNBC for the longest time was like, we're the fucking liberal network. They're falling apart now too. But CNN was like, we're going to be above the fray. We're going to consider everyone and all this crap. And it didn't fly. No one wanted that. And I think TYT is in a weird place now where they're trying to do this, like bring the like enlightened centrism of Substack onto YouTube. At least that's what Anna's doing. And it's just all over the place. It's uncoordinated. It's, clearly Cenk was resistant to this direction at first. We saw it on air with several debates between him and Anna. It seems like now after Trump's reelection, he wants to go in that direction, but he's still not quite ready to for a variety of reasons. So it's all over the place.
Well, I mean, think about this. Like, if you see Cenk on Patrick Bet-David, you hear these right-wing talking points or, soft Trump apologia. You're like, okay, this guy sounds good. And then you go to the Young Turks and there's more left-leaning rhetoric there. He's talking about how Trump is bad. I don't know what's on TYT. I don't watch TYT anymore. I only watch it through the proxy of the Vanguard. So I don't know if they're doing that. But like, you see the opposite rhetoric. It's going to be a little bit jarring, right? Like, think if we saw somebody who's like, hey, man, workers should own the means of production. Then we're like, okay, base. Then we go see their channel. And they're like, actually, Trump is right about everything. Buy Trump coin. Like, it would be so jarring. It'd catch you off guard. And you think, okay, well, never mind. This person very clearly is just saying
like
what they
watching
want.
Theo Vaughn.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this person is clearly speaking to that audience. They're not genuine. They don't have a thought in their head. It's just, hey, what does this audience want to hear? So I think that TYT is experiencing that. And what has truly been shocking to me is just how much their right-wing pivot has backfired for them. Yeah. And part of it is because, they are the ones who chose this branding, the home of progressives. And it's not just like, hey, they've been doing this for 5 years, 10 years. They've been doing this for like 20 fucking years. Before that, Cenk was on public access television. So you
Although
can't
it's so funny. I've been going down the rabbit hole of their old content. There's videos from them like 12 years ago of them like reacting to Japanese women making out on one episode of the Young Turks that people send us, because people send us like crazy shit. Yeah, I'll forward it to you, Mike, so you know it's real, but we don't have to react on.
Oh, I'm sure it is.
And they'll like call it like Japanese makeout videos, and then Cenk will be there like watching it with this like 22-year-old woman sitting next to him, and he'll be like, I've been doing the progressive work longer than anyone else. Look at this video from 22 years ago of me talking about a woman who lost half her face to a chimpanzee. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like it really was a like post-Obama Bernie era where the TYT really leaned into the progressivism, from what I can tell going back through their catalog. Before then, it was just like left flank Dem.
Well, if you notice, they've gone through these phases, right? Like, they tried to be Howard Stern back in like the 2000s, 2010s. And then they kind of pivoted and were really full on progressive. I think like the 2010s was my favorite era of TYT, when they were doing Wolfpack, trying to get money out of politics. They brought John on. That was like peak. That was before Jimmy went full full Alex Jones. Yeah. And so then after that, after they took the Katzenberg investment money, then they went very like corporate in the sense that like they got the YouTube TV gig. And you see all these weird, like, apolitical shows. Like, there was, Murder with Friends. There was, like, a more tech video game type one where they're just trying to be, like, a CNN type. And it just, that didn't go well, too. So now they
basically tried to be Vox on YouTube, and it stopped working as soon as they expanded.
Yeah, which by the way, that one thing that on the subject of like the Katzenberg money, that pissed me off because in 2017 I just hit 100K on YouTube, and that's when I joined TYT. And later that year, that's when they took the Katzenberg money. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh, Mike is a sellout. You're taking this Katzenberg money. I'm like, motherfucker.
Implicated.
I'm implicated. Yeah. God damn it.
How's that Katzenberg catch treating you, bro? How much you got left from the?
What was it like on Jeff Bezos' yacht, Mike? Huh? Yeah, were you swimming with the Obamas and Richard Branson?
Eating caviar, all that shit. Yeah, but and it's not like, I was pissed off about that. I always said, like, I disagreed with it, but, like, it just kind of, like, Cenk has never had regard for his brand as, like, the home of progressives. Like, we're home of progressives when it suits us, right? We'll union bust and shit like that. It's just fucked up. So, like, he's never, like, if you go back to the history, he's never really been, like, super leftist. He's always been capitalist, and being a sock dem is fine. Like, I think that if you could normalize if you could radicalize normies like against the Democratic Party establishment, that's awesome. But the problem is now, like, you're kind of just in a way soft pedaling Donald Trump, and it feels like a Trojan horse. It's just gross. Like the whole situation with TYT. I've been like watching all your content about them, and it's been really cathartic to see, because like before I was like a part of TYT Network temporarily, like I was genuinely a fucking fan of TYT. Like I wrote a college paper about new media and cited TYT. So it really does, it sucks to see them take this turn. And like I genuinely am rooting for TYT. I don't know that it can survive with Cenk and Anna, but like a TYT headed by like Francesca Fiorentini and John, that is a powerful TYT. And like with the way that they're doing this now, they're just steering this into a fucking iceberg. And all the people that work for TYT, I haven't met all of them. Just like whenever I go on shows, like you'll interact with them in the background. Best people ever. Like they actually believe. So like I don't want TYT to die. But at the same time, it's important to delegitimize Cenk and Anna specifically, because what they're saying is so fucked up. Like Tucker Carlson-esque talking points about the homeless. I can't.
Wait. Mike, you've never been to California. You don't know how all of their stogies and marijuana and large bowls of marijuana, they stopped at bowls. Now it's trash cans. They're just pouring all of their pot and drugs and amphetamines and needles, Mike, and needles at playgrounds and in your backyard. And you'll come home and there'll just be a homeless junkie buck naked in your bathtub, okay, with your wife, Mike.
They said that to me about Portland. Like, yeah, you wait until you see what Portland looks like. Like, oh, yeah, okay. What does it look like exactly? Why don't you explain to me? Yeah, like there's like unhoused people. We've always had that. There's like graffiti. We've always had that. It's beautiful. Now the people are just doing drugs in the streets. Like, yeah, because the unhoused crisis is so much worse now than it was like 5 years ago, 10 years ago. Like, they try to use these big cities as examples that like, everything is bad with leftist politics, or when it's like the people who are governing these cities, they are liberals, they're neoliberals. Like that's not a good representation of leftism. And I find it so frustrating that like Cenk and Anna try to pass off like Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass as the left when they're corporate Democrats.
Right. But then they'll act like, Kamala Harris was giving in to the leftists, and she lost because she was actually pandering to us or something. Because in 2019, she said one nice thing about trans prisoners or something. Like you have to go back all the way to 2019 to find her saying anything empathetic about trans people, and you're going to act like that's what cost her the election because she pandered too much to us and not the other way around. It's totally incoherent. Either way, Mike, really appreciate your insights on the TYT situation, on the Trump inauguration. Thanks so much for stopping by. Did you have any more questions for Mike, Zac?
Oh, no, really appreciate you coming by to shoot the shit. Congratulations on your breakout success. It's very inspirational. And also, I just think we all have to, unify a little bit with the people who haven't lost their minds. I always look forward to having you come on the show because I like bouncing ideas off somebody who I know isn't crazy. So really appreciate you, Mike. And we'll talk soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, well, after 4 years, we'll come back to whether or not I become crazy. But yeah, nice hanging out.
Shout out to you, Mike. Always great to get you on the show. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, keep crushing it.
Oops. There you go, Mike. Sorry.
I said keep crushing it. Okay, bye.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there.